Welcome back to the third episode of the Lions Timeout Show. I'm Sebastian Stiglbauer.
And I'm Jordan Henderson.
Today we are going to change things up here for our show. We'll talk about some sports topics like who we think will win in the NFL and the NBA, who could get awards, and other guesses.
We will also talk about a baby being born at a stadium and how an ex-coach got a sweet payday for being fired while still under contract.
Before we get into our hot topics, we have a question for the viewers. What is your favorite game day food? It's yours.
Being a guy that grew up in the South, being a guy that grew up and playing football, I think, just good old hot dogs and hamburgers are good enough for me these days.
Completely agree.
I love, barbecue's always well, but, hot dogs, hamburger, I feel like goes with any sporting event.
Agreed. That's my answer, too. I mean, burgers, hot dogs, two of my favorite foods anyway, so.
Chips and a good refreshing drink can get you through any sporting event.
Yeah,
really,
absolutely.
I honestly believe that. If you have a favorite game day food, leave a comment in this comment section.
And make sure to subscribe for notifications on new episodes of this show or other shows of KGCS and a thumbs up on the video.
And now let's talk about some sports predictions.
The NFL is getting close to the end while the NBA is just getting started, and some people are wondering which team will be champion. Jordan and I will be discussing who we think will win and who gets all the major awards. All right, let's get started with the NBA.
Who you think is going to win MVP, Sebastian?
MVP, I've got my man Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Especially paired with Damian Lillard, I think he's going to have an amazing season. Won't have to shoulder as much of the scoring loads. He's going to be a better defender, better facilitator of the offense. He's going to be the best big man in the league by far.
Yeah, I think Giannis is going to win MVP as well. Just like you said, playing off a Dame opens him up so much. It takes a load off his shoulders. He doesn't have to do as much. I think his shooting inabilities will be shadowed a little bit more with Dame being a shooter himself. I think it just opened him up a whole lot more in the offense because you can't count for both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like especially the fact that he can't shoot is going to get helped a lot by Dame.
Definitely helped a lot, especially off the pick and roll. Just giving him easy dunks, easy layups, and he's already 6'10".
Yeah.
And I already call him Greek the Freak for a reason.
Yeah.
Now, I also have him winning Defensive Player of the Year, though.
I do not. Got Jaren Jackson Jr. I think he's going to repeat.
He's going to repeat?
Yeah, best shot blocker in the league. I don't see a reason why he won't, unless injury, which is definitely a possibility. But
me being from Memphis, I would love to see that. Love to see Jaren Jackson go second. I feel like with their beginning of the season, I feel like he'll be not talked about because they'll feel like, oh, look at their record. He's not being impactful. Yeah. But if you still look at the box numbers, still watch the games, he's still impactful down inside. Speaking of other big men, Rookie of the Year, I feel like it's a big man race between Victor Wembanyama, the guy from the superstar phenom from France, and Chet Holmgren from OKC. What do you think about those two players being Rookie of the Year?
I think Chet is he's a more rounded player. He's got better fundamentals, but I mean, that only is going to do so much for him against just the unbelievable talent that Victor Wembanyama is. Because, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, he had his first big game. He had 38 or something against the Suns a week or two ago.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
It's just like how easy the game is for him at such a young age.
Yeah.
He was rising up and shooting threes and jump shots over Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant was considered a unicorn when he came into the league. Just doing those things that you don't see many big men really do. Of course, Nikola Jokic in Denver and Joel Embiid in Philly, they also shoot threes, but just to see somebody shooting with such ease and such a smooth shooting stroke, I think it really sets him apart from everybody else.
Yeah, it takes a big man to make a big man look small.
Yes, very, very big man. For my most improved player, I have Paolo Banchero from Orlando Magic. He was Rookie of the Year last year, and I only see him getting better this year. What do you see as improved?
Zion Williamson. He's been injured and been barely playing since his second season, right? Yeah. 2020 was the last time he actually played a full season.
Yeah,
I didn't even play a full season, but anyway. But he's got the talent. He has the skills. We've seen that, but it's just a matter of can he stay on the court. And if he can, I feel like it's a lock for the award.
Yeah, and I feel like if he locks in, if he's locked in, like you said, for just most improved, I feel like he could be an MVP candidate because I feel like he has that talent, he has that ability.
Definitely.
We just have to see him do it on a consistent nightly basis, just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. All right, and to round off our NBA predictions, what's your finals matchup and who's winning it?
I had Denver versus Milwaukee, like we talked about with Dame and Giannis. I have Milwaukee winning because I just don't see anybody in the Nuggets backcourt that can guard Damian Lillard. I think
Yeah.
he's just a dynamic person, dynamic shooter, dynamic player. What about you?
Wow, we're really creative. My matchup is the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Denver Nuggets, and I have the Milwaukee Bucks winning.
The Milwaukee Bucks winning, yeah. I think that trade, especially when it happened in such a late part in the season, I feel like a lot of people thought it wasn't going to mesh as well early because they didn't have a lot of time to practice.
Yeah.
But when you put two players like that together that just want to win, I feel like it works at all costs.
Yeah, I feel like right now they're struggling on defense because they're trying to adjust to not having Drew Holiday, who they've had for 3 seasons now, which will make sense, but we'll see when we get closer to the end of the season how they are defensively because that's going to be huge come playoff time.
And I feel like as much as Drew Holiday was a good defender, I feel like Dame matches that or probably outpaces that on the offensive end.
Because Holiday was spotty on offense.
Yeah.
He was an amazing defender, though.
Amazing defender.
Right.
Now, going towards the NFL, my MVP for that is Christian McCaffrey, the running back from the 49ers. He's a dynamic player, and being the play caller that the 49ers have is just, I think it just opens them up even more, just the whole offense. And you see his dynamicness just running and catching the ball at the backfield. What about you?
I promise we did not plan this out ahead of time.
No way.
My MVP is also Christian McCaffrey for every reason that you just said. He has everything you could possibly want out of a running back and a wide receiver. And, I mean, the touchdown streak, just ended, right?
Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah.
But he'd scored a touchdown every game since, week 15 of last season. So, if it doesn't just become a quarterback award, he should win it.
I think for him, this key is just being healthy, just staying on the field. I don't think he has had a full healthy season probably since he came into
last
the league.
Last year.
Yeah, and if he can get really one full great one, I think he'll be
Defensive Player of the Year.
I have his teammate. I have the linebacker Fred Warner. I feel like he's just probably the top linebacker, especially inside in the league right now. Mm-hmm. Just the way he plays, the way he leads their defense. I feel like he's probably the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've disagreed finally. I went for Micah Parsons because he's, in my opinion, the best defensive player in the league.
Very fair.
It's absolutely terrifying to play against, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think seeing any defensive lineman coming at you full speed is a nightmare for quarterbacks, but especially seeing Micah Parsons.
Yeah, especially one that's faster than half the receivers.
Yes, a guy that moves like a linebacker, like a guy that plays Fred Warner's position, playing defensive lineman is just a monster on the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And Offensive Player of the Year.
I have Tyreek Hill for Miami. Now, I know his numbers last couple weeks have gone down, especially against the 49ers, like we mentioned. But I still think he's one of the top receivers in the league. I still think that the Dolphins can find ways to get him the ball and find ways to get him the yards to get the Offensive Player of the Year. What about you?
Yeah, I agree that Tyreek definitely has a shot, but I feel like since if we're right about MVP and it goes to McCaffrey, they're going to give Offensive Player of the Year to Mahomes because they got to give a quarterback an award somehow. Mahomes, I mean, he's not having his usual elite MVP type season. He's actually worse than a lot of quarterbacks on paper, but I'm assuming, given the benefit of the doubt just because of how he's been since he came into the league, that he's going to figure this out closer to midseason and we'll be fine.
I think Patrick Mahomes is just getting more comfortable with those receivers. They have a lot of new receivers, a lot of new guys that have to step up because of Travis Kelce being off and on the injured list these past couple of weeks. But like you said, it's a quarterback league, and they have to give a quarterback an award. And I feel like if any quarterback is going to get the award, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely.
Now, I think an interesting one is Coach of the Year. Who do you have for Coach of the Year in NFL?
Mike McDaniel.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, yeah.
Just because, that offense, specifically the defense, leaves a little bit to be desired, but that offense is absolutely unbelievable.
Okay. I had D'Amico Ryans from Houston. I feel like they're a good team. I feel like I also have C.J. Stroud for Houston for Rookie of the Year, and
Same.
I have the 49ers and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
The Eagles and the 49ers in the Super Bowl. I've got the Eagles winning.
Eagles winning?
Because I just think they're the most complete team in the league.
Most complete team in the league. All right, well, that is for our predictions.
Speaking of football, Texas A&M coach named Jimbo Fisher was recently fired for not meeting the lofty expectations in College Station. In 2017, he signed a 10-year, fully guaranteed $75 million contract, And after winning at least 8 games through 4 seasons, he has signed a contract extension totaling his value to $95 million in 2021. He's been to a bowl game each of his seasons at the helm, but ultimately it was not enough.
Jimbo Fisher, I feel like this has been talked about on all your favorite sports shows.
Yeah.
But when he got the contract that was fully guaranteed at only 75 in 2017, it came with the expectations of beating Bama consistently, getting to Atlanta, which is where the conference championship for the SEC is being held, and being in the college football playoff. And he hasn't done any of those things. He's only reached 9 wins one time.
Was that 2020, right?
And that was 2020 in the short season.
Yeah.
And it just looked, especially with a 45-25 record, it doesn't match the contract.
Yeah, no. I mean, last year he was 2-6 in conference play.
Yeah.
He's been above 500 in conference play one time, and that was the shortened season.
Yeah.
But he's been 500 the last few years.
Yeah.
But 5-7 total record last year. Texas A&M with the number 1 recruiting class in the country every single year.
Yeah.
And they're terrible when you can mention that.
Yeah.
I mean, they've beaten Bama once, and they were unranked and terrible when they beat them. So, I mean, that can just be chalked up to a fluke game by Bama. But I think it's one of the worst contracts in sports history. And the only reason he got it is because he won a national championship with Florida State.
And I think, you speak of the Florida State days, he's brought in to be an offensive coach, to keep their offensive game going after the last coach. And it just hasn't translated, especially in the quarterback. It just hasn't translated to the wins and to the offense that they wanted to see.
I mean, Kellen Mond's not still there, right? He got drafted, I think.
And the quarterback from then has fallen off even more.
I mean, because Mond wasn't great, but he was at least consistent to some extent.
Yeah. And it was the highest contract and the highest buyout in history. So it just looks all the way bad right now for Texas A&M.
Yeah. Hopefully they can improve, because I like seeing Alabama lose, so I'd love to see them be good again.
Definitely.
Moving to a more lightened mood story. On Sunday, October 23rd, a pregnant mother and her husband were going to a football game in Indiana where the Colts were playing against the Browns. According to Austin Hansen from Fox 59, the baby unexpectedly decided it wanted to watch the game too, so the couple had to go to the stadium's first aid area, and the baby was ready to come out. The baby was safely delivered. They were able to watch the rest of the game. I think it's a very cool thing.
I think it's like, most sports fans think it's a very crazy thing, know. And maybe it was just a sound that brought the baby out. Maybe he was just tired of hearing all that sound and wanted to see what was going on. But, at the best, as a football player, as a football fan, maybe just another football fan for life.
I mean, it's great to see young people taking an interest in the sport, especially, people who just got born.
And maybe this will be a good, maybe if it was a boy, a very cool draft night story, later. They always do draft night stories about the kids and their life bringing, and what's better than saying I was born at a NFL football game when you're drafted to the NFL.
Especially if he gets drafted to the Colts.
Or to the Cleveland Browns. I was the first, they're my first teams I saw, so I think it'll be a great experience, wonderful experience.
Yeah. We're going to take a break for a moment, but in our next segment, Jordan and I are going to try to do some trivia on different sports and their history behind them.
And afterwards, we will have an interview with a special guest. We will be right back. We are back with our producers, Darren Zustiak, who will be giving us some trivia questions about some sports history. So let's start off with the first question. Darren?
All right, so the first question, what is the diameter of a basketball hoop in inches? They have 18 inches, 12 inches, 15, or 23 inches.
18.
18, yeah.
Correct answer is 18.
Yeah.
That's one. Write it down.
You were telling me a little bit earlier before the show. It depended sometimes the size of who's shooting.
Yes. If it's Shaq, it's going to be smaller because Shaq can't shoot. But if it's Steph or somebody like we talked about earlier, Dame, great shooters, it opens up back up to 18.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Second question: how many players are on a baseball team? You have 8, 10, 9, or 12.
Absolutely no idea.
I'm going to go with 9.
I'll agree, just because he knows more about this than I do.
You sure don't want to choose a different answer?
No, he knows more about it than I do. I'll go with them.
Okay, the answer is 9.
Okay.
9 players. All right. Do you think there should be more players in baseball, maybe? No?
I don't watch baseball.
It should be just 9 only.
I don't watch baseball.
Okay. All right. What type of race is the Tour de France?
Bike racing.
Bike racing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to give you the answers, but yeah, bicycle
Oh,
racing.
we answered before you could.
Yeah. We knew that one.
We're just the best.
Have you guys watched Tour de France at all?
I used to watch it when I was younger, but I haven't watched it in years.
Go ahead. Me being a sports fan, when sports is down and you just scrolling through channels, you see a sports, people competing. I've stopped on it before. I really have. I know. Well, I will not lie. I've watched Tour de France. Yes, I have.
All right. Question 5. How old was Tiger Woods when he won the Masters golf tournament? Was he 21, 33, 22, or 19?
Okay, which time? Because he's won it like 5 times.
I guess there's one major one.
This first one?
Yeah, I believe so.
If it's his first one, it should be 21.
I think it was. I'm going 19.
The answer was 21.
Oh, got me.
Yeah, I guess he was like, it was a big deal because he was very
The
young at the
youngest, yeah.
time.
He was the youngest one. Yeah.
Because he won one when he was older too,
Yeah.
but I wasn't sure. Just assuming it was his
I
first
went
one.
young just thinking about him being the youngest one, but okay.
No problem. All right. What
Cheating question.
You're good. What NFL team was originally called the New York Titans? Was it New York Giants, New York Jets, Buffalo Bills, or none of the above?
I'll let you answer so you can't steal mine.
I'll go with none of the above.
Jets.
Yep, it is the New York Jets.
This is fake. This is fake news. I want you to know this is fake news. I just want to point that out.
I don't know. I just got the questions. I just got the questions and I was like, oh,
Fake
hopefully this is
trivia.
right.
Fake
That
news.
is correct.
Why do you think it's not correct?
Being a Giants fan, I knew it wasn't the Giants, and I hate the Jets, so it makes sense. And and Buffalo, I knew Buffalo's always been in Buffalo, so I knew that was never. I knew they were never the Titans.
Why did you think it was?
I just know everything.
You know everything. You're
About the
wise.
NFL, I know everything.
Okay. All right. Sorry. All right. So, what is the only team in the NFL to either host or to neither host nor play in the Super Bowl? Was it the Dallas Cowboys, Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns, or Seattle Seahawks?
Browns.
Browns.
It's got to be.
Got to be the
Everyone
Browns.
else has won one.
Yeah, everybody else is 1-1 in
Yep.
that. Yes, the Browns.
The answer is Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
All right. Number 8. What material was first used to cover baseballs? Was it leather, wool, cowhide, or pigskin?
Pigskin. I think.
Cowhide.
Which one do you think's correct?
I have
Or
no
which
idea.
who do you think's more correct? Maybe.
I don't know.
I went with pigskin. I'm gonna go with pigskin.
Okay. The answer is cowhide.
Oh. And I thought I knew baseball.
Oh, you're getting whipped.
And I thought I knew baseball.
7-4 right now.
Oof. All right. Final question, and there's no multiple choice on this. There's only one answer. Which basketball player was Michael Jordan? Named after when he was in high school?
I know some of the Michael Jordan facts, and I don't know this one. Yeah, I don't know. You got me stumped.
Well,
Magic Johnson.
close.
Magic Mike.
Yes. I was gonna give a hint. It starts with the word magic.
Yeah.
Magic Mike.
I won't count that.
Makes sense.
Leave it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense.
And that's all the questions I've got.
Awesome.
So who won?
Me. 7-4.
Fake news. Fake news. I think it's fake. I don't think it's real. I think this is a fake game that I was brought up, and it was meant to make me look stupid. I think it was. Just saying.
Up next, we'll have a mystery guest come up and chat with us about an important topic. We will be right back.
We're back with the Department Chair of Kinesiology, Andrew Cullors. Ms. Cullors, what does your job entail of the Department Chair?
As a department chair, I think we do a little bit of everything. Our department has 7 faculty members, so I help oversee them. We have 3 different majors in our department. We have physical education, exercise science, and sport and recreation management. We just put in and had approved by the Board of Governors a master's in sport and recreation management, so kind of helping oversee the development of that. We're working on having a new food science degree starting next year, so helping get that started. And then we have a few different certificates, coaching, nutrition, community health, and rehab sciences. And then I also teach a little bit and I advise students.
Okay, so a lot of people just hear kinesiology. I don't think they understand what is kinesiology and what is it. How does it impact our daily lives?
Yeah, well, it impacts all of our lives all the time because kinesiology is the study of movement, and so really our department does in our degrees kind of expands on that. And so with exercise science, we're really looking at how can we use movement to prevent getting sick, to prevent injuries, to recover from an injury, to get healthier, recover from chronic disease. With physical education, we're teaching kids, how do you move? How do you toss a ball or how do you run? And then with sport and recreation management, it's teaching students, how do you run a facility that houses sporting events, or how do you run a youth camp, or how do you oversee a gym? And so in some way or another, all of our degrees have something to do with human movement.
Okay. You speak of all the majors, all the degrees you have. Just how many students do you have in your department?
We have about 200.
200? And do you see a lot of student athletes in that program?
We do. Student athletes come to our department because they have an interest in sport. We see a lot of student athletes entering the exercise science degree because they've worked with a physical therapist or they see athletic trainers on the field, and so they want to go into athletic training or physical therapy. We have those that want to go into coaching, or they were really influenced by a coach or a physical education teacher, so they want to go that route. So student athletes, sport, athletics, movement is such a part of their lives that they then want to kind of stay in that field as a career.
And you speak on all those majors and you speak of having student athletes. Which one do you think they tend to lean towards a little bit more?
I don't know. That's a really hard question. We're pretty evenly, probably exercise science is our biggest degree. But our sport and rec management degree is growing, and because a lot of student athletes or just students in general aren't necessarily wanting to go into the healthcare field, they really want to go into managing facilities, running events, coaching, kind of that other side of the area of kinesiology. So that degree, we're only in its second year, and we already have over 50 majors, so it's really growing.
What type of career fields, what type of jobs are related to those majors?
So as I mentioned, with exercise science, going into personal training, occupational therapy, athletic training, physical therapy, physical education, being a K through 12 teacher, and then sport and recreation management, overseeing a fitness facility, going into event management, working with Parks and Rec, really all kinds of things that have to do kind of with overseeing and managing and running athletic facilities, events, etc.
Okay, what is the most attractive part of the kinesiology program? What is the thing that you think are bringing in students?
I think it's our faculty, and I say that because we are, and I say it with a smile, because our faculty are fantastic. The way that most of our classes are taught, I mean, we do have classes that have a lot of content, but we try to break up the content with activities, with a lot of hands-on learning, with experiences, and so a lot of students learn by doing, and so combining that lecture with the doing aspect, I think a lot of students are drawn to. In terms of advising and getting to know our students, our faculty do a fantastic job of that. And so I think that building relationships, so students might be interested in the field, but I think building relationships and getting to know the students is really what keeps them there, and then word of mouth also brings them in.
You talk about building relationships, talk about getting to know their teachers. What is the student to teacher ratio in the kinesiology program?
Most of our classes, we cap at 24, and so I don't know exactly what our student ratio is. It kind of varies in classes, but we try to keep all of our classes at 24 students or less.
And for our viewers that don't know, where are you located? Where's your department
It's a good question.
located?
It's hard to find us sometimes. in Leggett and Platt and Young is those two gymnasiums. Our offices are in Young Gymnasium. If you know where the swimming pool is, we overlook the swimming pool. So we're in the old Young building.
Okay, you know, I know some kids that work in our training room, such as Hannah Young, Chris Ziegler, Leah Rubio. Is that a requirement or an elective for their program?
It's a great partnership, and so students of ours that are wanting to go into athletic training, we highly encourage them to go talk to Amanda Wolf or Brandon Myers in the athletic training room and become a student athletic trainer. To be a certified athletic trainer, you have to get a master's, and those programs are really competitive, and one thing they look at is how much experience do you have in hours. And so our students that have those hours and that experience have a leg up in the competition. And then they see, you know, do they really like it? Is it something they want to do? And they just get great experience working with the athletes. And they see things and do things that they hear about in the classroom, and then they get to actually experience on the field or the court.
And what does it mean to have that kind of relationship with, like you said, Brandon Myers and Amanda Wolf? What do you mean to have those just mean that much to your program?
It's huge. And I would say across the community, we have just fantastic relationships, like with individuals or the director at the Y, at Millennium, Joplin Parks and Rec, those that work at Freeman Hospital, over at Mercy Ortho 4 State. So we have great connections and relationships. So all of our students complete an internship, and we just kind of, you know, say, hey, this is what you want to do, contact these people or contact those people. And those relationships really benefit our students and our department. And those practitioners, the people out in the field, bring so much to the students, because again, they're able to take what they learn in the classroom and then apply it in real life settings.
Are there any other hands-on training that students in the kinesiology department can do while they're here?
The athletic training, we do have students that will intern or work with Stephen Benfield over in the rec center. And then we have different lab spaces. We have a biomechanics lab, we have an exercise physiology lab. And so getting those experiences either in a lab setting or doing undergraduate research. We also, the Lion Co-op Food Pantry is under our department, and so students can volunteer there as well to kind of get experience in that type of setting.
And for our viewers who don't know, Southern is getting a new health science building, breaking ground in January. What does that mean for the kinesiology department?
We are really excited. We've worked with those in the allied health department, and there will be a rehab science lab. And so we'll be working with, it will be set up to simulate someone going through rehab. So there could be respiratory therapists in there, nurses. Our students that are wanting to go into occupational therapy or physical therapy can kind of simulate some of those experiences. And then also in a hospital setting, you're always working as part of a team. So our students wanting to go into those clinical areas will have experiences with those other allied healthcare students to see what it will look like together to work as an interdisciplinary team.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming here. Thank you for sharing about the kinesiology department. Great people, great love. Thank you for the football team, such a football player like I am. Thank you, Andre, for telling us all about the kinesiology department. Sebastian, I'll be right back to end the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is all the time we have today.
We'll see you next time on Lions Timeout.